This Omix-ADA full brake line set is for those of you that have a 1987 to 1995 YJ that are looking for a new set of brake lines because yours are starting to rust. They're just worn out, you're doing a frame swap, and this is the best time to do your brake lines. Whatever the reason is, this is going to be a high quality set of pre-bent brake lines that make installation very, very easy. Today we're going to talk through the installation of this brake line kit, which I am going to give a 1 out of 3 wrenches, even though these brake lines can be a little bit difficult to pull into location. Once they are clipped into their spots on the frame, they are very easy to attach to all of your factory brake components. We're also going to talk about the construction and a few of the other features of these brake lines. These are going to be for those of you who have rusting factory brake lines and are looking to swap them out. Now, brake fluid is hygroscopic, so it does soak up water, which can cause your steel brake lines to rust from the inside out. And of course, if you get a leak in one of your brake lines, you'll very quickly lose your brake fluid and then lose your brakes. Not a good thing. So swapping these out, if you do see some rust starting to appear on your brake lines, is a great idea. Now, you can certainly upgrade to a set of stainless steel brake lines, which are going to last a lot longer. However, they're also going to be more expensive. This is one of those situations where some of you will say, I'll spend a little bit more, I'll get the stainless ones, I'm never gonna have to do this again, while others will say, look at how long the factory ones that are just steel have lasted me. My Jeep isn't gonna last forever, so if I put these in, I'm gonna be just fine and I'm gonna save myself a little bit of money. So definitely two schools of thought there, and it's really up to you if you go with this set of steel brake lines or if you upgrade to a set of stainless brake lines. These are going to be pre-bent lines that come out of the box ready to install, making installation very easy. Like I said, these lines are pre-bent steel lines, and they're very much like the factory lines. The lines that could chafe up against something do have a protective coil around the outside of them, just like the factory lines do. All of the fittings are installed, all the lines are flared, so these are going to screw thread directly onto all of your brake components on your Jeep. And it even comes with these 2 small jumpers that are up on the master cylinder area, so you really are going to be able to replace everything to each of the 4 corners of the Jeep, making sure that everything is nice and fresh. As I mentioned, I am going to give the installation of these brake lines a 1 out of 3 wrenches. It is a fairly simple install, but getting the lines threaded into their location along the frame can be a little bit taxing. The last time I did a set of brake lines on my TJ, it was during a frame swap, so of course it was very easy, but if you're doing this when your Jeep is fully assembled, it can be a little bit difficult. Another area that you might run into problems if you have never had your factory lines disconnected from your wheel cylinders before or disconnected from the soft lines up front is getting them disconnected. Of course, there can be some rust there and it can want to break some components. So I wouldn't expect to be able to do this in a day if you have a rusty Jeep and drive the very next day. Make sure you give yourself some time, so if something does go wrong, if you do break a fitting off of a wheel cylinder, that you can go and purchase a new one and get yourself safely back on the road again. Speaking of wheel cylinders and soft lines, this is a good time to replace those as well while you have everything apart. Obviously, you are going to be draining your entire system of all of its brake fluid, so doing any of that other maintenance is a great idea at this time. So all you need to do to get these installed is disconnect your factory brake lines from your soft lines up front and from the wheel cylinders in the back, and then unclip the brake lines from their location along the frame. Of course, disconnect all of the lines from the manifold and the master cylinder along the firewall, and then just pull them out. The old ones, you can cut them with a pair of wire cutters, you can bend them, pull on them, whatever you need to do to get them out of the way. Now, of course, you're going to want to be much more careful with your new brake lines. Most lines do come out of the box with an extra bend in them just because it makes it easier for them to ship. And these are going to be just about the same. There's 1 bend or 2 bends that you might have to straighten out a little bit, but other than that, these are going to fit really nicely. It's just threading them in and out of all of the other lines on your Jeep, getting them from the master cylinder to the wheel that they need to be at can be a little bit taxing. Just take your time and be careful, and you're going to be able to do that with no problem. Once you get them all into place, you'll screw the fittings onto the rest of the brake components, and then it's just a matter of filling up that reservoir, bleeding out the brake system, and you're finished. The whole installation is probably going to take you around 2 hours, if not a little bit more, and especially if you have some rust, but you're not going to need any specialty tools. I do like to use line wrenches on these because it helps from rounding out all of the fittings. However, a set of regular open-ended wrenches that you already have in your toolbox will work just fine. These brake lines are right around where I would expect them to be priced for a set of pre-bent steel brake lines. These are going to fit well, they're made just like the factory ones, and they're going to last a pretty long time, especially if you change your brake fluid on a regular basis. If you neglect your brake fluid, you allow it to soak up some water, these are going to start to rust eventually from the inside out. So again, if you have the budget for it, if you plan on keeping your Jeep forever, if you don't want to have to do this job again, I would recommend going with a set of stainless brake lines when you swap them out because you're not going to have to touch them again. However, if your Jeep isn't going to last you forever, if you don't plan on hanging on to it, or you just don't have the budget and you want to save some money, these steel lines are going to fit really well and certainly get the job done. So whether your factory steel brake lines are already rusted through and you're leaking brake fluid, or you notice some surface rust on them and you want to make sure you get them swapped out before they break at the worst possible time, this is going to be a really nice kit to get them swapped out and get the confidence back in your braking system because you know you have all brand new lines. So if you need a new set of brake lines for your YJ, I definitely recommend looking at this set from Omix-ADA, and you can find them right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.